You're watching the latest news from FinancialMirror.tv. Billionaire Warren Buffett bet on a Wall Street revival by buying a $5 billion stake in Goldman Sachs. His investment company, Berkshire Hathaway, surprised markets with a deal that could give it a 9% stake in Goldman that was once thought untouchable, but was shaken last week by a sudden slide in its shares. Sumitomo Mitsui Financial also plans to invest in Goldman in what would be Japan's third biggest investment on Wall Street this week. Analysts said that Buffett's legendary status as a value investor gives the bulls reason for optimism, as some will see his move as a sign to call the bottom of the recent declines. Across the Atlantic, the world's biggest maker of nuclear energy, EDF, launched a £12.5 billion takeover bid on power producers British Energy, boosting both stocks higher. But investors remained cautious in picking stocks as the Bush administration's push for quick congressional approval of a $700 billion bailout for financial firms hit a wall of opposition on Tuesday among senators who said the plan puts taxpayers at excessive risk. A Washington Post ABC News poll showed that Democrat Barack Obama has opened a 9-point lead over Republican John McCain in the presidential race amid growing pessimism about the economy. The financial crisis has become the #1 issue leading up to the November 4 U.S. presidential election, and many lawmakers seeking re-election to Congress want to appear vigilant. The bailout, potentially the United States' biggest ever, could cost every American man, woman and child $2,300. Even for the world's richest country, $700 billion would be a huge budget drain. Since 2003, the Iraq War has cost about $550 billion, or a little more than $100 billion a year. The FBI is investigating Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Lehman Brothers and AIG and their executives as part of a broad look into possible mortgage fraud, sources with knowledge of the investigation told CNN. Earlier this month, FBI Director Robert Mueller told Congress that 1,400 individual real estate lenders, brokers and appraisers were now under investigation in addition to 24 corporations. The FBI currently has 26 pending corporate fraud investigations involving subprime lenders. As the mortgage industry began to unravel, the FBI, with assistance from the IRS, launched a broad investigation into mortgage fraud. In June, its mortgage fraud task force arrested more than 400 brokers, lenders, appraisers, and other industry insiders, who it said were responsible for more than $1 billion in losses. Last month, a study found that the number of fraudulent loans issued during the first 3 months of 2008 skyrocketed 42% compared with the same period in 2007. The Fed said it has established reciprocal currency arrangements with the central banks of Australia, Denmark, Norway, and Sweden on Wednesday, meant to help global financial markets. The agreement should make up to $30 billion available to the Fed so it can make loans to banks in the United States. The central banks of Australia and Sweden will provide $10 billion each, while institutions in Denmark and Norway will supply $5 billion each. The Fed's announcement follows a similar initiative it unveiled last Thursday, a $247 billion reciprocal currency arrangement with the European Central Bank, Swiss National Bank, Bank of England, Bank of Canada, and the Bank of Japan. The influx of money from the central banks represents an effort to put more money into financial markets and fuel economic activity. In the current economic climate, with major financial and insurance institutions teetering, commercial banks have tightened their lending policies and increased interest rates, taking billions of dollars out of the economy. Internet superpower Google has challenged the popular iPhone by launching its G1 mobile phone in the US in conjunction with the German-owned carrier T-Mobile. The new device functions on 3G and Wi-Fi networks and will offer high-speed access to Google services, including Search, Gmail, Google Maps, and YouTube. It features a 3-megapixel camera, a touchscreen, and a slide-out QWERTY keyboard, an advantage over the iPhone. A mobile version of Amazon's MP3 store will be preloaded onto the G1 to allow users to download, buy, and play music directly from the popular store. The G1 will also support the Android platform, in which other developers such as HTC, Motorola, and Intel can offer additional programs. The G1 has a price tag of $179, $20 less than the iPhone, and will be available from late October. It will be available in the UK in November and across Europe in the first quarter of 2009. And finally, something about man's best friend. Dog poo used to be merely a nuisance to pedestrians, but now it could be used as evidence against pet owners and may lead to fines. A town in northern Italy plans to create a DNA database of all registered dogs and then test droppings left on pavements and in parks to identify the culprits and fine owners who fail to clean up after their pets. Vercelli, a town of 45,000 inhabitants near Turin, wants a clean city and will charge €13 for DNA tests, which would be more than covered by fines. The Israeli town of Petah Tikva launched a similar plan earlier this month, under which dog owners were asked to take their animals to a municipal vet, who then swabs its mouth and collects DNA. Thank you for watching FinancialMirror.tv.